There's a new Ransona in town, and he's not playing around. Or they? I don't know. It looks a little androgynous, to be honest. Maybe trying to be male. Looks almost like a Rugrats adult. This video is called Dungeons and Dragons Core Rule Books have introduced trans monsters and added genders. I mean, you already have changelings and doppelgangers and stuff and gods. They're already non-binary, genderless, trans gods in this. You ever heard of Grozit?
Fandom Pulse, Dungeons and Dragons 2025 Monster Manual, gender swaps dryads and hags and turns the incubus and succubus into transgender creatures. Yeah, that's what we're doing today. So let's take a look and see what this article has to say about Dungeons and Dragons. The
You got a breath? What is happening? Were you just running around?
2025 Monster Manual is the final book for the trilogy of core books, new Dungeons and Dragons editions. And
oh boy, we have a professional reader on screen. I don't want to alarm you, but we are one of the first 300 people to watch this, so it's very exclusive stuff.
Wizards of the Coast has already revealed gender swapping of traditional monsters like dryads and hags, as well as transgender succubus.
Gender swapping like dryads and hags, like having male dryads and male hags. You couldn't have that before? I've had male dryads for sure. I don't think I've ever done a male hag, though. I am sexist.
And incubus monsters in a new promotional video. With the new edition of the fantasy role
You know what it usually is, though? It's because hags hate men.
Playing game, Wizards of the Coast has already courted controversy with their changes to the game by adding a diversity, equity, and inclusion agenda on top of their core rulebooks. Dungeons and Dragons player.
Dungeons and Dragons. Are you good, bro? He didn't seem. I wonder why anti-woke warrior has this avatar. If we were to see you side by side with your avatar, what would we think? Would we think you've taken some liberties?
Players, as a result, have been watching their beloved role-playing game of questing and fighting monsters turned into a political, cultural, and social conditioning tool by the Hasbro Corporation.
Well, I mean, fuck Hasbro, but not for this or whatever. I don't care about this. Diversity. You just play the game you want. I don't know. Every time we watch these D&D things, their complaint is they're turning the game into whatever. They're not. They're putting stat blocks on a thing, and for players that read the books, that actually read the books, which is not a lot of them, the words in between the stat blocks, I don't know if I got to be honest. I have, where is it? I have Volo's Guide. There's a whole fucking load of shit. Like, that was page 10 something. Mind Flayer stuff. I don't know. There's like a bunch of like lore and shit about all the different races that they're introducing in the Volo's Guide. And while that's all cool and stuff, I have barely read it because I skip all the way down and I just fucking looked at the stat blocks because I was already making these are player character options, which is what I was on before. But like, I don't even know what they were saying before. Why does it upset you? It's a role-playing game. Make the game you want. If you want no diversity in your D&D game, well, it's a game about diversity. But if you don't want it, you don't have to.
Exactly. Just like what we need too. We have, none of that going on anywhere else in the world. So, Dungeons and Dragons has to toss their hat into the ring. Before the Monster Manual began being promoted in 2024 Dungeon Master's Guide, infamously has incorporated BDSM fetish community practices in the game for.
Oh my God! Saying, hey, can we BDSM sex practices? Hey, I feel like can we stop for a second? This is BDSM sex practice. You're right. We can't say, hey, time out in any other context. God, the NBA guilty of incorporating BDSM fetish community practices in game when coaches call a controversial timeout to stop, to collect themselves and to gather the players in a time of crisis during play. Fucking Jesus Christ, dude. You should get therapy.
Safe spaces, having players make an X with their arms if they feel triggered by a situation and requiring a DM to stop the game and address the player in question.
Holy fucking shit. Can you do me a favor and learn to read with any kind of enthusiasm or projection? Like, you're speaking from like your nose or whatever. Like, speak from down in your chest with your large, clearly large, well-hewn pectorals. Speak down in your chests and project towards your mic for your future videos. My dude, it'll help. It'll help your confidence probably also.
2024 Player's Handbook is filled with imagery of BIPOC and female characters as at a margin of more than 5-1 for white male characters, about the direct opposite of the demographics who play the game. Now,
the direct 5-1 white male characters. It's a game. Did you want white male mind flayers and shit? Like, what are you talking about? What do you need? You're already there.
Now, I've already addressed this in a previous video. It's not true. The number of white males presented in the Player's Handbook is 35, and the number of BIPOC and female characters presented in the Player's Handbook is 55. It's not a margin of 5-1. Dungeons & Dragons came under further...
Thanks for fact-checking. But you've counted? That's so weird. Why? Why do you care? I wouldn't even think to count. It sounds like you have this very race-aware brain where everything filters through, is it white? And that seems weird.
Further scrutiny after it was revealed senior designer Jason Tondro penned a foreword to a history book on Dungeons & Dragons calling Gary Gygax misogynistic and accusing him of cultural appropriation.
Well, both of those things can be true. What's wrong with that? Those are both true things about Gary Gygax for sure. What? Don't try to wash this man's fucking reputation just because he made D&D first edition. He was the man he was. He was the man he was. It's okay. The game came and it had some problematic aspects to it, and it's okay to address it and move on. You can add those problematic aspects to your game if they're getting your jellies. I don't care. But like some people won't want to play at the table with you. It's up to you. You can do it though. No one is stopping you. Like, what do you think the fucking D&D police are going to knock on the door and be like, hey, buddy, are you doing Nazi stuff in this campaign? No one cares. I've seen the misogynistic memos from the desk of Gary Gygax. He had a certain view about women and their capabilities. You're a misogynist.
This prompted Elon Musk to beg the question to how much Hasbro costs for him to buy the parent company of Wizards of the Coast and save Dungeons & Dragons from all of these woke controversies.
Save Dungeons & Dragons from all these woke controversies. I don't think Elon would do a good job of owning Dungeons & Dragons. But it doesn't matter because you don't have to buy any of the stuff that D&D puts out. You can just, if you want to play D&D, all you got to do is use your imagination. You don't need a single fucking book from these people.
Now, the final core book in the trilogy of new Dungeons & Dragons supplements is being released and is showing signs of being infected by the same agenda as the last two books in the promotional interview on the Dungeons & Dragons YouTube channel.
Can you hear his fucking chair creaking? Are you going to do anything?
Now, this video here I think is long.
We have the new
55 minutes. So I might go through this and cut out the good parts to share with you. If not, you can watch the video yourself. I'll leave a link to the article down in the comments. Wizards of the Coast developer Jeremy Crawford and F. Wesley Schneider gave an interview with Todd Kendrick detailing the final core rulebook of the new edition of Dungeons & Dragons and the 2025 Monster Manual. In the introduction to the video, Kendrick says, "Tell me what's new in the new Monster Manual," to which Crawford admits everything, which is not what longtime Dungeons & Dragons players want to hear.
What? What do you mean it's not what they want to hear? We've changed. There's a reason to buy our new book, is what he said. We've changed everything. That's not what the players want to hear? No, please. Give us a decades-old book again. Give us the same thing. What the fuck are you talking about? Nope, nothing's changed. Don't even worry. You could skip this edition. What do you think he's going to fucking say? Use your fucking head, twerp. God damn it. What the fuck is he supposed to say? It could be a lie and he would say the same thing. He's selling the book. God fucking damn it.
But it gets far worse as the video goes on. Once it gets to the 47-minute mark, the designers start to reveal changes to the monsters in the game. You can see some monsters are very similar to what you saw in 2014, and in others, it's been reimagined in a variety of ways, Kendrick said. In many cases, when we redesign a monster, wanted to bring out the monster story and personality better. They continued.
Yeah.
Then the gender agenda crops up.
You have such a hard time reading. It's like quartering levels of having a hard time reading right now. Let me go to a stat block for you. So they tried to do stat blocks that were like, hey, look, there's different kinds of like orcs or whatever. And, you know, they give you a little bit of stuff, but like multi-attack, it can make 2 claw attacks or 4 if the target's bloodied, which is not that different from the normal aggressive feat, like just adding to the aggression thing. They also have like you can make extra attacks when you're dying thing when you're an orc, but then it just adds spells, and then that's the whole thing. Now I want you to see the difference between that and like, let me go to, I guess I can just go to the orcs in the MCDM RPG, which is really, really good. The way that they write the stat blocks gives, in my opinion, a much more like inspired and inspiring, like gives better information. This orc blood runner is all about moving. They run 60 feet, which is double the speed of normal. And then everything they do is about like moving through people, bashing. He should be a big problem, like a bowling ball on the fucking field. And all of his actions are revolving around that. These are very cool and much more dynamic. Also, the art is fucking dope in this book. The MCDM RPG is really dope. Like maybe this is an even better one. The Atiog, which is a very classic D&D. Is that in Volos? Let's do these side by side just so you can see what I'm talking about. So you can see the Atiog it's a big trash creature. They're pretty cool. And it has multi-attack, it bites, tentacle slam, and limited telepathy. So it just sort of smashes things around with its tentacles, and it has a little bit of stuff about how they like live in trash, okay? They dwell in darkness and have tentacle slams. If you look at Flea Mortals, it's got so much going on. Adjustable appendages. They have eye stalks, legs, tentacles. They do different things based on these. Like it gives them different sight lengths and speeds, and so it's a creature that adapts to its space, trash adaptive, and it's a really cool sort of trash monster now. And with a bonus action, they can transform one of their adjustable appendages into an eye stalk, leg, or tentacle. Tentacles give them extra attacks. Legs give them more speed. Eye stalks give them better sight. So, like, you can see, like, it just starts to, like, change in the fight. Way more inspiring than whatever the fuck this is, which is fine. And that is all to say that redesigning the monsters is a very good thing. We do not want the 10-year-old stat blocks at all.
As they say, also people are going to see the art, male or female versions of a creature that they've never seen before.
I forgot he was really bad at reading. I'm going to speed him up.
Or, for instance, in the Dryad painting, you now see a male Dryad and a female Dryad. The developer spoke on changing Dryads, which is a Greek mythology, always took the form of a young woman. Okay. Hags now can be aunties and uncles, grannies and grandpies.
That's
Kendrick
cute.
Followed up.
I love a man hag. That's such a cute idea. I love that.
The creature has always been traditionally a wizened old woman or fairy with the appearance of an old woman.
Yeah, you can totally still do hags as women if you'd like. But, like, that's so inspiring. Isn't that cool?
Then he gets into the transgender agenda with changes to succubus, a traditionally female creature, and incubus, a traditionally male creature, which now are two sides of the same creature, which can swap gender at will. Yeah, okay. Well,
yeah, okay. So in incubus and succubus lore, like, the old lore, I guess you got to pick your poison. The old lore was it didn't matter your sexuality, you were attracted to them. So it changes your sexuality, the player. Or now they can change their gender at will. Like, I'm pretty sure they already, like, let me see, succubus. Shape changer. The fiend can use its action to polymorph into a smaller medium humanoid or back into its true form without wings. The fiend loses flying speed, and then so it can already change its form, man. Huh? Succubussy. True.
It is a demon, but it is kind of stupid just to do this and be like, hey, look, the succubus and the incubus are the same thing. They're just one demon that can change into whatever it wants to.
They're not demons.
Go.
What? Are they demons? No. They're fiends in service to devils, demons, night hags, rakshasa, and yugoloths. Demons are different than this. These are quite fiendish.
Well, it's a demon, so it can probably do that anyway. But the whole gay incubus, that's been done. It was done in Crowd Dune and the Flaming Sword of Fire. But here they are. Here's the trans succubus incubus. They're the same. There's only one, and they can just flip flop whenever they want to. Okay.
That's trans? Is that what trans is? So being a changeling is trans, right?
Kendrick said we've also
he says, fucking thanks for being here. What is the point of you?
reimagined the succubus and the incubus rather than having succubus and incubus indicating the gender of one monster. We've now turned them into two monsters. Either of those monsters can appear as male or female. That doesn't make any sense. Why would you turn them into two monsters if they can just change into the other monster? That's stupid.
What? It doesn't sound like... What? It sounds like each monster can change genders. I don't... He's not bright. It sounds like they have separate stat blocks. I would love to see what delineates a succubus and an incubus in the new stat blocks.
Then got into the transgender agenda with the new changes. The
succubus just yapping for content? Well, no one's watching.
One you meet in the material plane, and the incubus is the one who haunts your dreams, and the succubus can turn into an incubus, and the incubus can turn into a succubus.
You're mistaking the gender. Like, they just told you that we've reimagined the succubus and incubus. Rather than having the succubus and incubus indicating the gender of one monster, we've now turned them into two monsters. Either of those monsters can appear as male or female. So, like, why don't you understand what they're saying? They are not saying when they swap genders that they turn into the other monster stat block.
Then what's the point of having two?
What's the point of fucking reading comprehension?
I don't understand why you would do this.
I know you don't.
The succubus and the incubus are one of just many examples, he concludes, implying there are more changes to monsters that will add gender ideology into the mix for the 2025 Monster Manual. With this video, D&D fans are already dreading the release. Ex-user and player Kevin Lamb sarcastically said, "Great news, everyone. The 2025 Monster Manual has male dryads, and succubi are now genderless." Yep. To which influencer Melanie Mack quote tweeted Dungeons & Dragons AIDS, "With so much controversy already surrounding this edition, one wonders..."
You're just here to read this article wholesale and not do anything!
Wizards of the Coast could possibly be thinking in making these changes.
Hopefully the second half you do something.
To turn off more players from their new products, but they continue down a path that dishonors the game.
Dishonors the game. Created. Gary Gygax is dead. The game is more popular now than it was when Gary Gygax made it. And not due to Gary Gygax. 5th edition is what made it the most popular game.
Well, I don't have a problem with that, dishonoring the rules of the game anyway, because the rules they're all over the place in the game that Gary Gygax created. We have an issue here, in addition to adding genders where there should be none. And that
adding genders? Who added any genders? Give me an example of where they added genders where there were none.
Is Dungeons & Dragons system that uses goblin men's rights activists as example of how DMs should present evil in storytelling. Yeah, men's rights activists are, of course, evil. I mean, we know that. Right? Every men's rights activist I've ever met, he was eating babies or something like that, right? That's how that works.
Eating babies? Men's rights activists are dweebs. If you're a men's rights activist, I just don't think you understand what the problems are in society at all. I don't think you're capable of thinking. The primary difference between an incubus and a succubus is one is meant to seduce, succubus, and the other is meant to possess, incubus. That is the lore, and they have always been able to appear as whichever sex or gender. Neat.
I'm being sarcastic, of course, so I don't want to be quoted out of context here. Let's take a look at this article and see what it has to say about this. This is the important part in the article. Harmony Ginger. If you told me this passage existed, I wouldn't believe you. One of the most...
Harmony Ginger, definitely a man, right?
Standard adventure hooks in fantasy games go something like this. Goblins are attacking the village. The characters need to help. It's a straightforward setup. It's fun, but as written, it embraces the explicit idea that goblins are attacking the village simply because that's what goblins do. So when that hook comes to mind, it appears in a published adventure, but put yourself in the frame of mind.
He's trying.
And that attacking villages isn't what goblins do across the board. Then figure out what kind of goblins might engage in that sort of behavior. Well, I always thought of goblins as being like scavengers. They're not able to really eke out a living on their own. They have to take what other people have done and have it for themselves. So that's how I always thought of goblins. It's not because they're evil, necessarily, although they are evil, but it's that they are just not intelligent enough to figure out how to get what they need to survive. So,
they're just idiots, and so you just can kill them. This rant Sona is evil. He's so stupid. I mean, goblins could be lots of things. It just depends on what you want your goblins to be. Make goblins that are interesting. Most goblins in my settings tend to be like, I mean, I don't really use goblins a lot. We have used goblins though. They tend to be away from society and maligned as such, and so as part of their, you could call it marginalization. As part of their marginalization, they are sort of like forced into a bandit role. It's not really different from bandits. And then I think they live in a way that is like, it puts selection pressure on humans because we fight for the same stuff. And so there's conflict. But I guess I think of it in a naturalistic way.
So they see something that they want, and they think, well, I can get that, and I'll be able to survive. Which a lot of us would probably devolve into that sort of thinking if we didn't have such a comfortable life that we have here in the West. For example, goblin cultists are attacking the village, or goblin bandits are attacking the village. Goblin refugees are attacking the village. Very timely, that one. Goblin men's rights activists are attacking the village. Any of these alternative scenarios sets up the same basic adventure, but in
That's cool.
Look, can I have some gay butt sex already?
Nice. So this is obviously making a joke at the expense of men's rights activists for the audience. Goblin men's rights activists, am I right? That's funny. Yeah, they don't mean that for serious advice in your D&D campaign. They're making fun of you. That's all. I thought these guys could take a joke. Guess not. Thank you, Thrace.
In these other scenarios, goblins aren't a noun. They aren't the agents of conflict simply because they exist to create conflict.
Right.
Rather, they're the adjective giving more context to who the agents of conflict
So this is good advice. I think a more not appropriate, but like I think a more direct way to try to inspire this in people that are trying to DM and what they're trying to do is they are trying to say, hey, when you have an event happen in Dungeons and Dragons, you should ask yourself, why is that event happening? So yeah, that's good. Progress only. Thanks so much for the raid. Yeah, this is just world building 101. And they made a joke about MRAs in the process, which is funny.
are letting you explore the story of why they've embraced conflict as a choice. And now in the article it goes on to say, it's not only absurd as a premise in this book because goblins are evil, infernal beings that are by nature creating conflict.
They're not infernal beings. Goblins are not infernal. What? You don't know Dungeons and Dragons if you call goblins infernal. No, that means something in D&D. Shut the fuck up. Infernal is fiendish. Infernal is the language that fiends speak. Infernal is a language, but it also denotes, like, it's an adjective to describe a fiendish individual. Goblins are not that.
But using men's rights activists as an example is laughable because it's such a political modern trope. It ruins the fantasy storytelling.
It ruins the fantasy storytelling? What? This person cannot write a story.
As the woke continues to destroy the Dungeons & Dragons brand, one wonders how many people keep playing these game iterations.
Jesus Christ, this is sped up. They are Fae in the new monster manual. Goblins are? That makes sense. I think they're just monstrosities in the old one. Are they just little monstrosities? What is a goblin? Goblin. Small humanoid. Goblinoid humanoid specifically. I also am not crazy. These are not what my goblins look like. This is closer to a Tolkien goblin. Mine are the little. I like the Pathfinder goblins a lot. You guys know what I'm talking about? Pathfinder goblins are cute. Big fan of these guys. Best goblins in gaming. Look at these little fuckos. Go. What a bunch of little freaks. Yeah. Their big old heads. He's got pirate stuff. I think there's a reason that goblins are sort of like poor English working class coded a lot of time. Like, I'm a goblin, mate. Like, I think that's a good place. Like, these guys just want, I don't know, I guess it depends on what goblins. But I think they live a violent life because everyone is violent to them. You know? I think goblins are misunderstood. Goblins are Australian. There you go.
Right. So I couldn't really say it better myself, but you know, they bring up the
you
refugees
couldn't have?
here. Isn't that saying that refugees are bad? I mean, that's too much of a
What?
finger wag at the current refugee situation we have going on.
No, you're not. It's because you don't understand. Because the audience that laughs at goblins, men's rights activists are attacking the village reads goblin refugees are attacking the village and goes, so there's more to the story. They're attacking the village because the village didn't let them in. There is some kind of, if you played Dragon Age or something, it's like in Discworld. I didn't read it.
In the Western world, goblin refugees are attacking the village. Refugees are peaceful. They're kind. They just want to come here for a better life and to work hard and to contribute and to assimilate and do all the good things. They're showing their hand there. They don't really...
They're showing their hand there? I mean, any group of people has the possibility of violence in it. But, like, goblin refugees attacking the village is a very interesting... Where are they refugees from? They feel like we gotta get into this fucking town no matter what. Because they're running from something. That's interesting. Now I'm inspired. Now I want to know. It must be something much scarier than a goblin attacking. Right. Are they attacking? Are they just trying to get in? Are people responding to the goblins trying to get in by doing violence? Are the goblins even doing violence when they attack?
Appreciate the refugees. Goblins
Very
are evil,
interesting.
and this was pointed out in one of the Dark Elf books. I believe it was Passage to Dawn. Maybe it was Spine of the World. I don't remember now. But Drizzt, he stumbles into a cave. At the same time, some goblins discover the cave. And he's like, we can share. And then Caddy Bree, the love of his life, comes in the cave behind him. And the goblins get all excited about all the fun they can have with the young, attractive human woman.
Yeah, that's fucking creepy shit, man. Yeah, so R.A. Salvatore is freakish man. That's a weird thing to write.
So Drizzt promptly slaughters all of them because goblins are inherently evil. And
because goblins are inherently evil. Because R.A. Salvatore's goblins were inherently evil. You can definitely broaden. And I bet if you read more of R.A. Salvatore's work, there would be a goblin of not necessarily just distinctly evil action.
Raiding a village? Would goblins do that? Maybe if there was a lot of them. Maybe if it was a halfling village, because... As we can see here, the goblin, this is out of the complete book of humanoids, the first book, as far as I'm aware, that ever suggested that goblins or orcs, gnolls, any of those things could be goodly. We have the goblin's background here. Goblins are small humanoids growing to a height of about 4 feet tall. They're pretty small, right? Humans are going to easily be able to defeat the goblins with better tech and greater strength. If you're attacking a village, they're probably going to have defenses. They're probably going to be better organized than goblins. So goblins attacking a village is pretty lame as a storytelling device, and I would never use that unless it was, like I said, halflings, or it was some really remote village that was small and
halflings?
The goblins had vastly superior numbers, etc., something like that. But
you run boring ass games. Holy shit. I just think about how interesting it would be if you had hordes of goblins rushing toward a city, unprovoked. No one knows what the fuck is going on, and they're just trying to get in the city. They start climbing over the fucking gates, and then the guards just start to fucking kill the goblins, and so the goblins start to defend themselves, and there's a big fucking kerfuffle about it. And now it's like, that's a complex, political, interesting thing. And what are the goblins running from? Where did they come from? Are they leaderless? What, like when they get in, are some of them trying to be like, no, stop, we just want to get in, and some of them are fighting and killing, and because there could be a mixed bag. That's interesting. What's not interesting is, yes, only halfling, due to their height, maybe only a halfling village can be attacked by goblins. Like, what? My goblins are clever.
These people who write this stuff, they don't think creatively. They don't think about the actual...
Yeah, they don't think creatively. Yeah, they're the one. The best-selling tabletop RPG on the planet isn't as creative as this fucking 200-view Andy.
Nature of how things happen. They don't think that, it's fine. You go be a boss babe and get your bag. They don't think about how that's going to impact your ability to have children.
Fucking what? You don't have a fucking partner. Why are you pretending you know what makes boss babes or fucking families or anything? Women have jobs because some of them can. They want to have them. Most people have jobs because they need to, because of the capitalist system that you abide by and like. They're forced by necessity to have jobs. What are you talking about, boss babe? Yeah, go make your bag if you want to. Idiot.
Are you going to have time and energy to have children? No? Well, you're going to wait until you're 35? Well, then that's a geriatric pregnancy. You can't really be doing that. You can, of course, but it's not considered a good idea.
A geriatric pregnancy for 35 years old? Dude, this is a very strange turn of events from the D&D conversation you were having 2 seconds ago, and I can see why it upsets you that there may be mention of succubi that have different genders or what the fuck ever. Yeah, I mean, this is giving very much like, what do you think the age of consent should be? You know what I'm saying? Like, this is very side-eye behavior.
They don't think about these things like I think about here, going, oh, the goblin? And D&D doesn't think about these things here. Look at the goblin. His maximum strength is 15. 4 feet tall. His maximum strength is 15 out of 18 if you don't play the game. Okay. He's 4 feet tall. His maximum strength should maybe be at 12, 13, something like that.
4 feet tall?
I just care. Do they have what I need?
You are not a creative person. Why? You can't have anything strong that's 4 feet tall? Why? You're idiotic and boring. Listen, kid, you mean you were out of breath from reading earlier? Are you meant to believe that you could have the stamina to father a child? Does he not play? He must not.
Not going to be that high, just because he can't generate that much force. Now, maybe he has strength similar to that of a chimp, but I've seen video of chimps struggling to lift things that weigh more than them.
Chimps are stronger than you.
Because of the nature of the pulley system, but using a pulley system requires weight more than strength.
You're saying I'll use the pulley system to defeat the chimp in raw strength? What? They're stronger than you and they're shorter than you. You're an idiot.
Yeah, but their maximum strength should not be maximum dexterity. Should definitely be an 18 at least, because they're small and nimble, and in fact they even have some sort of nimbleness thing over here, don't they? Special advantages, vision, disadvantages, superstitions. Well, I thought they had some sort of. I think it's in the newer versions of the game. They have like goblin nimbleness. They don't like escape situations because they're just so dexterous.
What? Okay, here's the thing. Just do it. It doesn't matter. It's your game. You can make it whatever you want.
Go.
I have no idea why you're so limited in scope. Are dwarves strong? No, they're short.
Their intelligence and wisdom can be maxed out at 18. Why? They're beasts. Look at this thing. Part of the reason these things were considered evil by ancient peoples is because they were stupider than the average person. Being an animal-human hybrid was seen as somehow evil or somehow bad.
Okay. And so you right here are having already like, well, I mean, I don't even agree with them thinking that all goblins are evil, but that's what it should be in your setting. Fucking why?
Somehow
every stat is this guy's dump stat.
Less than human. Like, we look at it and go, wow, I have like the human intellect, but I also have the strength and speed of this wild animal. That's awesome. Okay, that's not how they saw it in the past, in medieval times. They saw it as
in medieval times. Is D&D medieval? You whoops, I haven't been doing that.
Of the human, a reduction of the human. Let's think that we have to see it that way today, but that's where these myths come from. The goblins are evil spirits. They're not good spirits. Okay.
Evil spirits? These humanoids are generally evil in nature and are great cowards as well. They're often generally evil, which means that they're not necessarily. Females are not afforded the same rights as males in goblin society, and females never learn to fight. Their role is to service the males and care for the young. Gary Gygax, let's go! Yeah, that's boring, dude. Why would goblins who need all the resources they can get be like, no, this one's not fighting? They would never do that. That doesn't even make sense, societally speaking. If you describe them as people that need all of the resources, idiots. Pretty boring.
Okay, stop with this. Just do a cursory bit of research and you'll find this stuff out. Read the Encyclopedia of Things That Never Were, and you'll find out all sorts of stuff about all these different spirits. Like, dwarves and gnomes are the same thing in the ancient myths. It's just
The ancient myths? What? Who cares? What? Do that then. I don't... Do that in your setting. Why... What do you mean? Did you know time continued to go and we had other ideas about stuff? We're like, ooh, what if we did this? Anytime these guys are met with any kind of creativity, they're like, no, I don't wanna. It's like conservatism in a nutshell. It's just like, hey, do you think we could fucking do stuff that's fun? No, I want to do stuff I've already done. It scares me to make change.